The other day, something happened to me, which I'm sure some of you can relate to. As you can tell, I don't feel great about it. I got triggered. And as often is the case with triggers, I got triggered by a person. Now, the first thing about this that I want to say is I've done quite a lot of work on myself. And yet, still there are these times where something just gets me, and before I know it, these emotions come up and I'm thinking and speaking and behaving in a way which really doesn't feel good to me and doesn't feel good to the other person. So what can we do about it? The first thing is to realize that in that moment of trigger, there is actually nothing we can do about that upsurge of energy. Those feelings, those thoughts, they have arrived. And the reason we can do nothing about them is not our fault, actually. Not really our fault. It's more to do with the way we're made. Polyvagal theory, which was put together by Dr. Stephen Porges, suggests that we respond to threats. So even if it seems like the most kindly thing in the world, if our system hears it as a threat, we will react. And he goes on to say that it's actually this idea of something called neuroception, which is that our nervous system will perceive the threat before we're aware of it. So everything will have mobilized in that moment of trigger, and we won't have the faintest idea why. Or maybe we do sometimes, but we won't be able to do anything about that mobilization because it is literally our nervous system getting ready to protect us in whatever way it's doing. So what can we do? The very, very first thing is to be kind as we can. Once our clear thinking comes back online, once we've got away from the situation, to actually be kind to ourselves for maybe what we've done, to be kind enough to actually recognize that in a moment of trigger, it is not our clear thinking, heart-led part of ourselves that's leading the way. It's another part. And the reason this kindness is so important is it creates the ground to have a bit more space. And that space, when we're thinking about it in reflection, means that we can actually take it as a learning opportunity. That sounds very, very coach speak, a learning opportunity. But if we manage to do that, we start the process of actually transforming that trigger. Because the person has triggered us, in this case, but the trigger is inside us. And so if we take it as a learning opportunity, then we can start to manage our triggers in similar situations, perhaps with the same person, a little bit better next time. And that feels good because we're taking charge of our own experience and taking charge of our own space. So that's just the beginning of working with triggers. There's a lot more that can be done with it, very, very specifically working with these different reactive parts. And if you'd like to find out more, like the video, subscribe to this channel, and there'll be a lot more about it.